A week from today, T-Mobile is going to host their earnings call. So they released this a few days ago that on July 27th, they're going to host their earnings call in the morning. So just a few things that I've been hearing around the industry surrounding T-Mobile. 60% of traffic is going on the 5G network as it stands now. That's what will likely be reported on the earnings call. That's a big number, I would say. That's a huge number, probably a much higher number than any analyst anticipated, likely a higher number than what even T-Mobile anticipated, to be moving people that quickly onto the 5G network. Like I said in the previous video, they're upgrading about 500,000 lines a week to 5G devices. So that's a pretty hefty number. So the playbook, what they're doing, it's working. Another thing that I'm hearing, rural growth is exploding. Far beyond T-Mobile's expectations. It's probably going to pass the guidance that T-Mobile put out on the analyst day, and it's probably going to far exceed any expectations of the analysts themselves. So here's kind of some of the feedback that I got. A lot of people are like, "What? How is T-Mobile doing this? Where's the coverage?" And like I say, at these conferences, at the earnings calls, they tell you everything in the numbers. So T-Mobile said they have categorized sub-markets, small markets, rural towns, into 775. They said that they can effectively compete in 20% of the 775 markets with retail and coverage. So that should be a decent amount to get to that rural growth, because a lot of people automatically assume that T-Mobile doesn't have coverage in rural. That's just not the case anymore. Do they cover everything? Are they toe-to-toe with Verizon? No. But do they have coverage in rural? Yes, of course. They do. And the numbers show it. So like I said, 20% of those 775 markets that they have categorized as rural and small town, they can compete in effectively with both retail and coverage. By the end of this year, not next year, the end of this year, they go from 20 to 50%. So then at the end of the year, they can effectively compete with coverage and retail in 50% of the 775 submarkets. So that means that rural growth is just going to continue. So like I said in the previous video, and that new unlimited plan that Verizon just introduced is already a sign of not necessarily a big shift, but it tells you that they got their eyes on, they're paying attention. So that's the first shift. Could we see other shifts? Maybe. We will see how this goes. But I think they're acknowledging that T-Mobile is just going to keep growing. And T-Mobile said if they take that same urban suburban playbook that led them to be the largest in the top 50 and fair share in the top 100, if they take that same playbook to rural and they now grow to fair share and then largest share, that should have AT&T and Verizon a bit worried, because now they're not going to be as dominant in terms of shareholders in those areas. They're going to have to give up some of that share to T-Mobile, which they never had to before because T-Mobile couldn't compete at that scale, and now T-Mobile is just further scaling. I'm being told that the growth in rural is exploding so much that it's talked about in all of T-Mobile's meetings now, and they're looking at the fastest way now to scale the network. Now, CapEx increase, of course, would help that, but given the economic situation, that may not be what we get. So they're going to try to make other cuts to fund strategic growth. So there might be some bigger projects that get put on hold in the urban core to move that funding to the rural side, if that makes sense. And that's kind of, what they got to roll with right now as it stands. And if some of you are familiar, T-Mobile's margins aren't necessarily the greatest to where they have that flexibility to where they can just turn it up and spend a ton more. That's just not the position that T-Mobile is in. So let me know how you think this quarter is going to go. Kind of just wanted to throw in some tidbits for you guys so you guys are up to date on that. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel, follow my social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.